Hey everybody, welcome to our lesson on rational numbers and fraction and decimal conversions. First of all, we're going to talk about what is a rational number. Rational numbers are numbers that can be written as fractions. They can be. They won't always necessarily be written as fractions, but they can be. So let's look at some examples. A fraction, 1/4, is definitely rational. A decimal, 0.3, is rational because it could be written as a fraction if we wanted to convert it to such. Same thing here, a mixed decimal, 7.15. And a mixed number, 1.5. All of these things could be written as fractions, so they are all rational. Here are some examples of some numbers that are not rational, or what we call irrational. Any repeating decimal that continues on forever, we would not be able to write that as a fraction because we would not be able to convert it. So that is an irrational number. For instance, the square root of 2 continues on and on. So there is no ending digit that we could convert to a fraction. Or pi, same situation, 3.14 and continues on. So we would not be able to write that as a fraction, therefore it is irrational. Now let's talk about conversions. Let's say we are giving a decimal and we need to make it a fraction. What we're going to do is we're going to take the digits that we see and we're going to place them over their place value and then reduce if necessary. So I've shown you an example here. 0.15. The 5 is in the hundredths spot. The first spot is tenths, the second one is hundredths. So I'm going to take that 15 and place it over 100. I'm not going to leave it as 15 over 100 because that can be reduced to 3 over 20. If I divide both top and bottom by the same number, 5, I will get 3 over 20, which is, we always want to go with the most simple form of the answer. Let's look at another one. Here we have 4.7. We have a number in front of the decimal and after. So what do we do here? Well, we're going to take that whole number and keep it as a whole number and do the same thing we did with the last example, taking the digits that we see after the decimal and placing them over the place value. So this 7 is in the tenth spot. So I'm going to take my 7 and write it over 10 and leave that 4 out front. So this becomes 4 7/10. Okay, let's go the other way and let's try to do some decimals to fractions. Or excuse me, we're still going decimals to fractions, but we're looking at a different kind, the kind that either repeats or has a pattern. Remember, we talked about that repeating decimals cannot be converted, and it's because they continue on and have no end, so there's no digit for me to stop on to write over its place value. That's why we can't convert this to a fraction. Okay, now we're going to go the other way, fractions to decimals. Have an example here, 1/4. How would we take that to a decimal? Well, we're going to take our top number and divide it by the bottom number and see what we get. 1 divided by 4, if we type this in, we're going to get 0.25. So there is our decimal equivalent to 1/4. What if we are needing to convert a mixed number, which is a whole number and a fraction? Well, remember when we had that situation in the earlier example, we kept that whole number out front, and that's what we're going to do here. We're going to keep that number in the front, and then we'll divide our fraction portion, top divided by bottom, just like before. So we need to take 5 divided by 8 to get our decimal portion here. And we will have 0.625 for that portion. So our final answer is 6.625. Okay, sometimes when we convert these to decimals, we're going to get a number that continues on. For instance, here I've got 3 1/7, which is going to be 3.14, and it continues on. That part is from the 1 divided by 7 here, okay? And for these situations, we'll just need to round it off at some digit as specified by your directions or wherever you want to end the number. If we wanted to go out to the 100th spot, what we would do is we would look at that next digit. It's a 2, it's less than 5, so we're going to keep that 4 the same. So I could round this off to 3.14. You could round it to any of these digits, but this is just showing you an example of taking it out to the second spot. Alright, so what did we talk about? Rational numbers, remember those are the ones that can be written as fractions. If you need to take a fraction to a decimal and convert that, you're going to do your top number divided by your bottom number. And then if you need to go the other way, decimals to fractions, you're going to take your digits and place them over the place value that they're sitting in and then reduce if necessary. This concludes our lesson on fraction decimal conversions and rational numbers.